Our next discussion is on abstract classes and methods, and this topic is related to inheritance. We need to make a difference between abstract class and an abstract method. First, let us discuss abstract classes, then we will talk about abstract methods. So when we say the class is abstract, the class is abstract if it cannot be instantiated. That means we cannot create an object from this class, but other classes are derived from it. That means we can extend other classes from this abstract class. So an abstract class, it serves as a superclass for other classes. The abstract class represents the generic or abstract form of all the classes that are derived from it. So this is like you define a generic class, you put all the data for this generic class, and you use it only for extension. You don't use it to create objects from this class. So how to define an abstract class? A class becomes abstract when you place the abstract keyword in the class definition. And this is how it is done. You write public, you write abstract, you write a class, and then last you write the class name. So now we know the meaning of abstract class, which is a class that cannot be instantiated. Now what is the meaning of an abstract method? An abstract method that has no body and must be overridden in a subclass. What does it mean? It means if you have a class and you have inside it a method that has only the header and the parameters, then this method is an abstract method. And when you extend a class as a subclass from this class, you need to override this method. If you don't override it, you will get a syntax error. Remember that abstract classes, we cannot create objects from these classes, but we can use them for inheritance. We can extend a class as a subclass from this as a superclass. So an abstract method is a method that appears in a superclass but expects to be overridden in a subclass. Why? Because it does not have the implementation, it does not have a body. So how to define an abstract method? To define an abstract method, it has a header, but it does not have any code inside it, which has no body. So first you start typing the access specifier, whether this method is private, public, or protected, followed by the keyword abstract, followed by the return type of the method, followed by the method name, and finally followed by the parameter list. Notice it is terminated with semicolon. That means the implementation is not provided yet. So any class that contains an abstract method is automatically considered as an abstract class. So if a subclass fails to override an abstract method, then a compiler error will result. Finally, abstract methods are used to ensure that a subclass implements the method. Here is an example of an abstract class for student. It is abstract because it has an abstract method, which is defined at the end of the class. Let us have a look into the student class members. First, it has 3 private data members, the student name, ID number, and year of admission, followed by a constructor that initializes the private data members, followed by a toString method, followed by an abstract method that is called getRemainingHours with no input parameters, and it returns an integer. So it must be overridden in a subclass because this class cannot be used for creating objects. As an example for a subclass that is used to extend the student class, here we have a class for computer science student as a subclass that extends the student as a superclass. Now since student is an abstract and has an abstract method, then this abstract method must be overridden in the subclass. So let us have a look into the class members for computer science students. First, it has 3 constants for the required credit hours, for the math hours, computer science hours, and general education hours, followed by 3 private data members for the completed math credit hours, CS credit hours, and general education credit hours. We have a constructor that calls the superclass constructor And we have set methods for the 3 private data members. And now, since this class is a subclass that extends an abstract class, then we have to override all abstract methods in the superclass. And we have only one method that is called getRemainingHours. So therefore, the abstract method getRemainingHours is overridden in the subclass, and this is its implementation. So now, if you want to create objects, you have to create objects from the subclass, and you cannot create objects from the superclass student. So the superclass student is considered as a general class that we don't provide implementation to some of its methods, but when we extend a class as a subclass from this superclass, we can put the implementation for these methods. So now let us continue and see the rest of the members of the computer science class. As you can see, it has toString method that calls the super toString method from the superclass student. Here is a small demo program that creates a computer science student and calls the method for setting math hours, CS hours, and general education hours. Then after that, it will call the getRemainingHours that was an abstract method in the superclass, but it was overridden in the subclass computer science class. Notice that in the println method, we are providing the object name CS student. So the system automatically is going to call toString method for the computer science class, and for the computer class, toString will call the super toString that will print the student information, and toString of the computer science will print the remaining information.